So you having fun?
Bro, I'm always having fun when I'm around Spinelli Drums. Come on, man. It's just nothing like it. The drums are just incredible, man. What you guys are making, it's definitely innovative. It's beyond what anybody else is doing. You thought of drums for a drummer, like a drummer, not just to make drums.
Well, thank you. We definitely didn't want to be different just to be different by any means, you know, and didn't want to be overcomplicated. So
That's the thing. Innovation simplified.
that's right.
It's
That's
a simple
what
kit.
is.
It may look simple, but it's so versatile. You can go from tuning to a jazz kit in a matter of seconds to going into a funk kit, bring it back down, going to rock. What I love about this specific kit, and I'm a big player and a big, what do we call it? I love playing 18-inch bass drums. That's my thing.
You did that with Al, right?
With Al this was the setup with Al. When I first went up with Al, I was 18, 12, and 14. And then it started getting a little bit bigger as far as toms, but the 18 stood the same because it was familiar to me. I like the sound. I like how big you can get it, whatever. But this thing, this is totally different, man. This sounds like a 22-inch. You can get it to sound way bigger, but it's versatile enough that you can go up, it still sound like a bebop kit or a jazz kit, and come down and play rock on this thing. I mean, with no problem.
With the same heads,
too.
too.
And with the same heads, you don't got to change. Now, what I love about it is that the pitches stay relatively close to each other, where it's not like you're off by this crazy amount, being a 12 and 14, that you can, with a key, and you can hear the pitch change with a key, not hitting the drum, but you can actually literally change each lug, and you can hear the difference in the head, because when the key hits the metal, the wood is not touching anything. So the resonance of the actual drum, you can hear it. So there's no need to be going around all the time.
Yeah.
When you're in a fast pinch. Now, you want to get something accurate, yeah, that's what you do. But when you're in a club and you're in a gig, it's, come on, man, let's go. You got 20 seconds between. You can tune this kit in 20 seconds.
Pretty much.
This is like the NASCAR, you know, this is a NASCAR of drums, where you can literally just change everything in 20 seconds and go. You know, that's what I love about this kit. And I love the feel, the way it feels. It feels natural. It feels like it's supposed to. I've been playing a long time, and I've come more analytical, if I said that correct, or I've become more aware of my playing technically. And it was getting to a point where things hurt, you know, because you think you have everything in the right position and you're using the right heads and all this, but it's like when I sat behind this, it was like it just felt right. And when you hit the drums, the way the drums bounce back at you, the way they respond to your playing. A lot of drummers, they don't get that because they haven't been playing long enough. Like, I can tell when a stick's about to break. I can tell when a cymbal's about to break. I can feel that tension in that instrument, in that part of the drum. Just like a head, when I can feel when the head is bouncing right back. But it's not just the head, it's because the drum is making it do that. Right. You know, people think that, oh, you know, with this drum, what I've noticed, and I've changed heads a couple of times already, doesn't matter what head you put on it. The feel is always the same. Doesn't matter what head you put on it. So, and that's my thing. I want it to feel right, because if I feel good, I play good.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way it is. Yeah. You know, and that's my take on that, is that if it feels good, you play good. You play comfortable.
Right.
You know, especially if you're going to do a 2-hour show. You want to be able to play a 2-hour show without killing yourself, because you got to do it repetitively for a month or so.
Right.
You know, so it's, like I said, man, this is the Rolls Royce of drums.
I don't know about a lot of drummers, but I know about myself and you. I'm not near as sensitive to a lot of these things that you are. You know, I can't feel a stick about to break.
Yeah.
I can't tell the cymbal's about to break. But I do know sometimes, occasionally, I will not be playing a Spinelli kit.
Right.
And there is a big difference in feel. I definitely have to work harder to try to get the sound that I'm looking for. And sometimes it doesn't exist. and I'm working harder.
It does exist.
Well,
on a Spinelli kit.
On a Spinelli kit, right. But
yeah, I get you.
But so I can relate to the feel and what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of drummers who've been playing a long time, who I once at one point was a really hard basher, to the point where I was playing so hard that it was obnoxious, even to myself, And I started calming that down, and the more I got better at it, I felt more of the sensibility of everything else. So I started becoming in tune with the instrument, which every musician should be in tune with their instrument. So if you feel those sudden changes, like I can feel when there's some times when I can feel the head being choked from the strainer, from the wires. I can feel that. So I go out and I loosen up the wires, because it's gonna happen. Depending on the room, wood does expand. If it gets cold, the heads stretch out. Not so much the drum, but the heads do stretch. If it's too hot, they get loosened up. So it happens. But I feel all those little nuances. I can feel, and that's just because of the fact that I stopped playing so hard and focused on the instrument itself. So then when this came out, when you started bringing this around and I played it for the first time, I was like, now I don't have to play hard, period, because they're loud. They sing. The snare drum sings. The bass drum just punches in it's just thick. What I love, but it's compact.
Yeah.
This fits in the trunk of my car, go to my gig, easy setup. My setup time now is about, I don't know, something around there like 8 minutes. And I'm talking about wheeling in from the car, setting everything up, 8 minutes, and then just going back and chill until the rest of the guitar players are set up their crap, and so it's like, and breakdown is the same. If we're done at 10:30, I'm in my car, like ready to go. I'm going home. Everybody else still setting up stuff, and the technology that you put in with the guide slide, and it's a game changer, because you're not sitting there doing this, trying to figure out heights. Everything is just poop, 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 plug and play. The hoops, and not the hoops, the tensions, the spurs.
Yep. Quick
Dude,
pitch, yeah.
It's like there's no more pinching your hands trying to open stuff, and it's really I've pinched myself so many times just trying to open up a spur. Or trying to get the spur right, and if it's not right, the bass drum tilts forward. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
I was a stickler on that too.
I
always needed it this angle.
No, this is just ready to go. Yeah. And
those are at the angle that I always wanted it.
Well, people don't read that. I've seen guys that play and their kick drum pedal just goes all the way in. And that's not your pedal. That's just the angle of your bass drum.
Oh yeah.
It's so for me, it's like the drum is always set it and go. So it's like you took the guesswork out of setting the drums. It's just now you set your drums, and now you can focus on your playing. And now when I play out, man, it's just like, it's a joy. Even if I am with a band that's not over the top, but it's a joy to hear the drums and play the drums. It's like, man, I'm comfortable, I'm happy, because this is my happy place.
Yeah.
Everything else is all right, but this is my happy place. And it's always been my happy place, and it's going to be. So, if you guys don't know who Spinelli drums are or what Spinelli drums are, I suggest you get on the ball, because this is the game changer. This is the real deal. These drums are the truth, and not just because I play them, but everywhere we go. Engineers tell me the same thing. They just cut through the mix. There's no guesswork of tweaking anything. Sound guys, when we go do shows, they're blown away on how easy these drums are just to mic up and walk away.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Do you use any muffling when you play out?
Nothing. There's nothing on this. The only thing I use on occasion, depending on the venue, if it's too much, I have a small little piece of foam in the bass drum just to calm it down a little bit, because it does tend to get a little loud. So just to calm the head down, to give it muffling. But as far as the snare and toms, there's nothing on it. And I was never a big fan of those things.
So volume is a problem with your bass drum?
Yeah, which has never been a problem before. There's two things on this kit that impress me the most. It's the bass drum and how sturdy it is, where you can dig in and the bass drum does not move, and how loud your snare is and accurate, of precision, where no matter where you hit on this drum, it's
Sensitive.
dead on. It's very sensitive to the point where you can get really low, and get really loud.
Oh yeah.
And I'm talking about
Anywhere
to the
on
point
the drum,
where
yeah.
it doesn't matter where you're at. This cuts through the mix, right? Two things that are important is especially playing pop music, kick and snare.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing you want to hear. So, truthfully, it's the two biggest things for me that I love about this kit. Then the toms are just like, it's unreal, man. It's just the way you can easily tune them to go from, because everybody who knows me, I dabble for everything. I'm not
You
the
mean
one
you have
guy, yeah.
4 or 5 recording sessions,
Yeah,
and 6 gigs a week? Is that your
yeah.
dabbling?
And I get into everything, so I can go
Yes.
from, and I'm not saying that I'm the best at all of them, but I do have to. I get called for smooth jazz, like I get called for straight ahead, and rock. This is the go-to kit.
Yeah.
This S1 is just, that's it. I would not take anything else to another gig because I don't need to. This will cover every aspect. So I can actually do one show, multiple artists. So that's what I love about it. So and the fact they're light.
Yeah, they're
They're
very
super
light.
they're super light. Like the hardware, because the hardware is aluminum, it's light.
And because we don't have anything attached to the shells,
Right.
the shells are not getting stressed. We use 5-ply shells.
Right.
That's not the only shell we use, but that's our standard 5-ply shell. So it's very light, and it is, you can't get any lower than a pitch with a 5-ply shell.
Right.
With nothing in it,
Right.
So the thicker the shell, the higher the pitch.
Right.
These drums are super light. The bass drum is 6-ply.
Right.
We did 1 more ply on the bass drum,
Right.
but yeah. So the light shell, the extremely light hardware.
Yeah,
It's
it's
very
a great
easy.
combination.
Yeah.
And it's easy to carry around. You're not carrying around a bass drum that weighs 30, 40 pounds.
Yeah.
So that's what makes the setup a lot faster and a lot, easier
Yeah.
for drummers.
And another drum artist, Spinelli drum artist, was at the shop the other day. He was talking about, I'm getting older and my drums are getting lighter, but he's got a full kit, and even, it's not just the 18, the 20, the 22, 24-inch bass drums are much lighter.
Lighter, yeah.
And so he's like really happy. I'm getting older and my drums are getting lighter. Woo!
And you still get a big sound.
You get a huge sound.
You got the sound. And here's the thing, man. There's a certain characteristic of the drums that they're Spinelli drums when you hear them. I've gotten accustomed to these already to the point where I don't want to play nothing else.
Yeah.
And if I can avoid playing something else, then I'm going to at all cost. But
And we do appreciate that.
Yeah, dude,
You do make the effort to play them all the time.
everywhere. And I don't mind. I stand behind what I play.
Yeah.
If it sounds good, I'm going to tell you it sounds good. I'm not that guy. But this is a kit that I recommend for the guy who's playing a lot, who's looking for an all-round sound for everything. This is it, the S1. Now, you can have your add-ons. There's guys that like to play a 5-piece kit. That's fine.
Yeah, we got them.
But this S1 kit, man, is just something else. It's a force to be reckoned with, for sure. It's gonna make a lot of noise. And
there's lots of different sizes available in
right.
the
So
S1
what
series.
what sizes you have for this series?
Well, we have them all. We have the 18, 20, 22-inch kick drums.
Okay.
8 through
16,
14
18.
toms, the 4 toms, 16,
Yeah.
all of them.
Now, this is a 14.
That's a 14, you're right.
And this thing, you can tune it down to a point where you can get a 16 tone out of it.
Yeah.
No problem. And this is a 12, and you can get a 14 tone out of it.
Sure.
That's what I love about it. But at the same time, this 12 can become a 10 when you tune it up, and this 14 can become a 12 if you wanted
Yeah,
to.
the drums don't really choke the higher you tune them. They get drier. They get a little drier.
Which is
but
great.
for
'cause
jazz.
when jazz is great because
stuff
it cuts
is
through.
perfect.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So that's the kit itself, man. It's amazing. The finishes are great. Let's talk about this finish, this epoxy.
Oh yeah, the epoxy finish. Yeah, yeah. Epoxy coatings are very popular now. There's a patent pending on the process. It's not my patent. It's a guy that I work with,
Right.
who does our finishes, and it's been really good to us. We spent a lot of time developing it for the drums. Had to get the thickness right. Had to get all that stuff right. But one thing, if you get a little scratch in it, it is epoxy. You can buff it out.
Yeah. Which is a pet peeve for a lot of drummers who actually get in and out, or you're doing like a festival. Things get thrown around and it gets scratched up. I get it. So
and it can be
holds.
repaired. The finish can be repaired like any epoxy.
Yeah, see, that's great.
So yeah,
that's really cool to know, because a lot of the most damage, and I've seen it throughout my life, has been on the tom.
Yeah,
because it hits the
snare rash. Yeah,
so you get that snare rash, and that's really good to know that you can fix that on the fly. You don't got to send it back out to any drum shop.
You can polish it out, or you can re-epoxy even in spots. You got to know what you're doing, but it can be done.
That's great, man. But everything about the kit, the innovation, the throw off. I like this throw off.
Yeah.
I've always said it looks beefy, but it still looks classy.
Yeah.
It's got a classy look to it. And it's really simple to use. Yeah, it's really simple to use. It's nothing crazy. But once it's up, it doesn't matter how hard you hit this drum. This never comes down, which I've had problems with other snare drums haven't come down, and how quiet it is.
It doesn't work off of mechanisms. It is just off of the leverage. So it works off of tension.
Right.
Once the handle is past a certain point, the tension is higher on that side of the point.
Right. Which makes sense. So it will never come back down unless you pull it down.
It will come down until you
release it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great. Yeah.
Or it loses tension. But
right. So it's a 100% free floating drum. Every drum.
Yeah.
Not just the toms and even the snare.
The snare drum is as well. Sure.
Yeah. And the difference with this guy, because it tunes top and bottom, you can experiment with your heads. Like right now, I have a 2-ply head on top and a single-ply head on the bottom. Some guys just go single-ply all the way, or 2-in-1. The possibilities of this thing are endless.
Right.
So you can really get different sounds of what you're looking for.
With the 2-ply on top, you can get the bottom tension with the single-ply a little tighter.
Right.
So it has that.
It has that pitch curve a little bit that guys are looking for, that they go up, not down.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
And if you do the same head, then you get more of the pitch bend down, because it's evenly tuning.
It's even, yeah.
And usually those pitch bends tend to kind of make their way down.
Yeah.
Versus make their way up. But it's like I said, you can put anything on this. I've already tried it. I've tried it, and the results have been the same. And the feel is the same. The sound is different. Tone is different, but the feel is the same. That's the most important.
Right.
That you can get the same feel everywhere. Every drum is consistent. And that's the biggest selling point for me. It's like I want to be able to just play around the kit. The kit plays itself, man. Other guys have played the kit like, dude, the kit plays itself. It's like, I know it does.
So real quickly, you touched briefly on it. The success in the studio with it.
Man, I tell you what, I since I've had the kit, I think I've recorded maybe 25, 30 tracks already. And everybody has the same reaction. Everybody, it doesn't matter who it is, what studios I've sent to, they all have the same reaction. They love the tone of the drums. So they think that I'm going through some crazy preamps, or I'm going through some crazy effects, or I'm sending it through some crazy, plugins or whatever. This is raw drums through microphones into a console, out. There's no tweaking. And when the engineers get it, it's like they have to do minimal work to get the sound, because it does sound great. It doesn't matter what mic you put in front of it.
Yeah.
They just sound good. Yeah. Live or studio. So that's my biggest thing, that now it makes my work easier. It makes my work easier, and it makes it better, because now they're hearing quality drums, not just quality sound from something that somebody mixed. Now they're hearing quality drums.
Yeah.
They're hearing the real tone of drums.
A month or so ago, you were at a session, and I was at the same studio you were, and I didn't realize it. And I got introduced to your band leader, and he just hugged me, and I didn't know why. I didn't know why. He was like, I love your drums. And it was like, wow. It was like unsolicited. He didn't know I was going to be there. I didn't even know you guys were going to be there.
Well,
But it was
we've been
pretty,
playing together for a
pretty
minute,
cool.
and he's seen me play on different kits. Mm-hmm. And when I finally told him, I said, man, I got Spinellis, and I want to do a session with this song. I'm going to bring the Spinellis in. He was kind of like, well, you know, we're already used to this one sound with the same drums that you get. Why don't you just bring the drums? Like, let me just bring my drums. And before mics went up, any mic went up, he sat in the room, he goes, holy crap. And he goes, it's not just the sound, Louis. The sound is great, but you feel comfortable. Like there's another whole side of you that I've never heard. And it's because I feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. So when I feel that way, I play a little bit different. I get to really express who I am behind this kit. Yeah. You know, and he was like, dude, he was blown away. He was blown away. I remember that day.
He was a big dude, and he just went up and said, I got to hug you. And then I didn't even know who I was.
Yeah, he came into the room. He goes, your boy's in the other room. He's having an interview. I'm like, who? He goes, Spinelli. I'm like, really? He's like, you know, so that was cool. That other guys are experiencing what we experience as drummers. You know, like it's like any instrumentalist that plays an instrument. They're looking for that sound that's gonna make them play better. Yeah. Whether it's a guitar, whether it's a bass, you know, it's they're looking for that sound that makes them play better, and that you can express yourself through the instrument. I can definitely express myself through this without having a humongous kid in front of me.
Yeah, it is true that other musicians that you play with recognize it. A lot of blues guitar players, you know, they're all tone freaks.
Yeah.
They would say something to me, you know. I was like, man, those drums sound really good and stuff unsolicited, you know, we're just playing.
I played with a blues artist from St. Louis, and when he comes down, the first thing he asks me, hey, Louis, you gonna play with me tonight? Yeah, you bringing those Spinelli kits? I'm like, yeah, man. He goes, yeah, they sound great. Because they go with what they do, and I can tune them to their key of what they want. And they just love the feel that it's not. Now, I'm not gonna say they're not loud. They're loud.
Sure, they can be loud.
But the ease of the way you could control them, that even with a single stroke, not so hard, you still get full body, full tone, and you can really control the volume of this kit without having to change a stick.
You know, volume just as a, you know, not related to drums, but you know, you can go see a band. It's a really good band and they're really loud. And then you go see a band that, you know, might not have the greatest sounds. They're not so loud and everybody complains about the volume.
Right.
So I think it's the tones. If the tones are good,
I think so
you
too.
can
You're
tolerate them at a much higher volume.
You're right.
Than
I've been there.
If they're not so good.
I've been there.
You know, so if they fit in, you can get away with things. Because our drums do cut. The snares
cuts.
There's a lot of snare sound when you play that drum.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I played in a band last week, and
yeah, you laid in
I was laying in, and my singer was like, "What? What?" And I'm like, "Dude," he goes, "Yeah, you were cracking that snare." I was like, "I was barely hitting it. Like it's not. You want to hear loud? I'll show you loud." You know, he's like, "No, thanks," but it does crack.
Yeah.
But what I love about it is that you can really tune down low, and it just gives you a nice fat warm sound. You can crank up. You know, it's the perfect size. It's 5.5 by 14. It's the perfect size for that. And I know you make some other stuff. You've made some 15 by 4.
Yeah.
You know, you make them in all sizes. But I think this is the go-to guy for any.
It is my favorite.
Yeah, it is mine too, and I love it. I love the fact that it's very open. It's very transparent. You don't need dampening. I'm telling you, this drum set has no dampening, and it just sounds great.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
A 5.5 by 14, if I had my top 3 sizes, would be 5.5 by 14 for all 3. And then after that, I might add some. But, you know.
Cool. So now.
That's the main drum that I could never live without.
So not just the S1, but we have a control edge.
We do. We have a control edge. Yes.
And talk about the control edge, man.
Yeah. It controls the resonance to make makes you could play single ply drum heads, and it can sound like double ply heads.
Right.
If you use any kind of muffling or anything like that, this is the edge you would need to check out.
Right.
The
So
control
it's
edge.
good for studio.
Good for studio,
And-
good for
and when
live.
you got-
It's good for everything,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
Just
I've
depends on
played
what
them.
you want to hear.
I played them
You
at
know?
the shop, and
Yeah.
it's what I like about it is that it's so controlled. Usually a single ply head, when people say single ply head, they automatically freak out because of overtones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that it just keeps ringing for a little bit. This thing is just like boom, boom, and not that dry, but it's dry enough that it's you can hear tones from.
You can
So if
hear
you have a
tones.
big kit,
Yeah.
you can hear all the
Yeah,
toms.
exactly. If you run through a lot of toms with that,
Yeah.
you hear every tom. It's
Articulated,
almost compressed or
very
something.
articulated.
Yeah,
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 So that's So that's the new edge system,
Yeah,
control
that's-
system that Spinelli's coming out with, which is great because I got to play that kit.
Yeah.
That kit sounds really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
you
It's,
know.
it's fun.
Cool,
It's
man.
fun.
So yeah, bro. But like I said, man, the drums are one of a kind. I mean, I really congratulate you guys, you and Frank.
Yeah.
You know, you guys have worked your butt off to get to where you're at, and this is the end result, and the end result is great, man.
No,
and
thank you.
I'm looking forward to a long life partnership with
Yes,
you guys,
me
man.
too. Well, you know, we talked about these drums for a few years
Oh, yeah.
before it finally
Came
came
to
out.
play,
I
yeah, man.
remember, yeah, the first time you played them, you were
No,
like,
I was impressed.
you
I
were.
was very impressed,
And then
I
it
was
was
like,
a year and a half or so later. It's like, hey, we're getting closer, and you were still way on board, and that's
yeah,
that's
man.
great.
Well, but like I said, I don't want to endorse a product just to endorse it. I want to endorse a product because I believe what it does.
Yeah.
And the people behind it, you know. So I know you got a great heart. You know, Frank is the same way, and you know, Spinelli's a family for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, it's local, so I can go to you with anything that I need and be like, hey, John, you know, what do you think about this? And I don't have to jump through hoops to get to you.
Sure.
You know, that's what I love, the fact that it's a one-on-one connection, and you hear, you're a drummer, so you know what a drummer wants to play on.
I know what makes my life easier.
Right.
And on a lot of things, not everything, but but a few things.
Yeah,
and, yeah, and that was the ideas that we really pushed for. You know, it was like, no, that's not it. That's not it. You know, okay, yes, now we're talking.
Yeah.
You know, and it
And-
needs to be
and-
simple.
And
You
what
need
I
to-
love with you guys, because, so I'm a Latin player. So you know I play Latin stuff. So you know I play bells. I put bells on the drums kit. So my first show I did with the Latin band, I had a little mount that puts on the hoop. And every time I saw the mount and I saw the hoop, I'm like, I think I'm gonna break the hoop. And when I told you that, you're like, you're not gonna break the hoop. I'm like, I don't know, man, it feels weird. So I'm the only one. I'm the only one with a slide and glide mount
for your cowbell.
on the actual, and it doesn't touch the drum. Period.
No.
They're actually on the rods,
Yeah.
and the mount stays clamped to my cowbell. I just boop, magnetize it in, and it's in place. And I told John, I told Frank, I said, hey man, I want to get something that can mount on the drum, but without taking the essence of mounting something on the shell. Guys took the drum a couple days back and said, hey man, how does this work? And I'm like, dude. So, you know, so the drums you can make them your own.
Yeah.
You don't have to go with, if you're looking for something, maybe you want to mount a tom. And I've known you guys done that
Yeah,
too,
we-
where you
we
can
do
mount
that
it.
too.
So it's just a matter of what you're looking for
Right.
and what fits your need. That's what I love. The fact that I can go to you and be like, John, you know, this is an idea. How can we innovate this? And your same innovation, but put it for this.
Yeah.
And there was no hesitation. You're like, yeah, got it. You know, I know Frank was like, what?
Yeah, I know. I'm the one like, we can do it.
Yeah.
What do you mean we can do it? We can do it.
But
we'll
when
do
you
it.
guys came back with this,
Yeah.
and then I did the first show with it, and I'm like, and just playing hard on it, just to see where it goes, and it didn't move. You know, so it's like, okay, it works. So now, if you play bell and you want to mount a bell, if you want to mount anything,
Yeah.
snare, like you know, like kind of like
Yeah,
Simon
we-
Phillips
we-
that puts
we
it
could
there.
put tom mounts on it. Yeah.
No, even with this, where
Yeah,
you
you
could
can do
put
anything.
a pocket snare that actually
yeah,
has
yeah,
the,
yeah,
the
you
rod
could.
insert.
You could.
You can put anything because it'll hold
you
it.
Can, yeah.
It will hold it,
It will.
which is great. So, like I said, you know, the innovation that you guys have going on at Spinelli Drums, man, is insane. You know, it's making my life way much easier. At the same time, it's making my playing a lot better. you know, I can appreciate drums. You know, at one point I got to the point I was just playing drums just to play drums. Now I'm actually playing drums because I want to.
Yeah.
You know, to the point where I take these home, set them up in the studio, got a gig, break them down. Like they come with me. I don't leave a set out. They come with me everywhere I go. You know, people think I'm crazy, but it's like, you know what? It's worth the effort when you believe in something. It really is worth the effort and the time when you believe that much in a product that you're willing to take it out, set it back up in the studio, break it down, put it back in the car, go do a gig. It's worth it.
And you can do it so easily, so that's a huge help.
And that's the thing. Just take the shells off, the hardware stays at home, then I have other hardware. But you know, there's other guys that won't put the effort into that. But I do because I believe in the product. You know, and I let you know that I really appreciate what you guys have done.
Well,
you
thank
know,
you.
To cover me and to have what I do and make my life easier. But you know, the least I can do is, hey, got a gig, taking the drums. You know, that's back. I can care less. You know, I believe in the product. That's why I haul it, and you know, it does play better than anything else that I've had. So I can't go wrong. So, yeah, man. But this has been a cool session, bro.
Yeah, man.
Anything else you want to go over?
No, man. I just want to thank you for everything you do.
Oh, dude, man. I want to thank you guys.
You guys are. You'll be out touring pretty soon here, and
I hope so.
Then we won't have much hang time.
Nah, man. We'll always make time. Get some coffee. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Spinelli Drums.
Wow.
If you haven't checked them out, check them out. This is the real deal. SpinelliDrums.com.
That's it.
That's it.
All right. Thank you.